coming in. It's been maybe an hour, so I know a lot of us are probably super busy, but hopefully this will be a fun one, something that you can learn. I know we did it last year, and a lot of folks show up, so hopefully you guys will learn something new today. All right, so I'm going to start off by just introduce myself. My name is Ling. I'm the program director here at the Triple L. Been here for almost 6 years now, and I am Cambodian, and I will be moderating the panel today. So I'm gonna have my speakers just introduce themselves, and then we'll start with the topics and stuff. Okay, so I'll start with Pia.
Hi everyone, my name is Pia, one of the APD at Triple L here, and I came from Cambodia to United States in 2010. I've been with Nonotuck for about 4 years now, I've been a nurse since 2015. I started as a home health aide and then licensed practical nurse, and I became a registered nurse in 2017. And as soon as I graduated from registered nurse program, I started working with Nonotuck, and I've been here since then.
Thank you, Pia. Samantha.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I'm one of the assistant program director here at Triple L. I came to the U.S. as a refugee in the early 80s. So I was pretty much born and raised here. I've been with the company for about 7 years.
Okay. Pirom.
Hi everyone, my name is Soperom. I am Cambodian. I came here in 2004 and I started working with Nonotuck in 2019. It's been a little bit more than 3 years now. And I am a CM.
Thank you. Kenny.
Good morning, Nonotuck family. Oh, good afternoon, rather. I apologize. My name is Kenny. I'm the intake CM here at the Triple L. I've been with the company for about 7 years, a little bit over 7 years. And I've been to the United States a little over 40 plus years. I'm old. Yeah, so I'm so happy and thrilled to share some of the Cambodian cultures and foods and stuff like that with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny. Monaco.
Hi everyone, my name is Monaco. I've been with Nonotuck since 2018, but in 2020, I actually went to live in Cambodia for a whole year, and I recently came back in October 2021. I've been in the United States since I was around 8 years old, back in 2003. I'm the first graduate of my family to ever finish a bachelor degree. I love living in Lowell, and I love doing anything with the community, and that's how I discovered Nonotuck, and I've been with the company since.
Thank you, Monaco. I think those are all the speakers that we have today. Again, thank you for volunteering. So before we kind of dive into like the topic we'll be talking about, I wanted to learn a little bit more about you guys, like your experiences. Like I think most of us here, came to the United States at different, age. So I'm gonna start by asking Pierre, like, can you just talk a little bit about your experience coming here, the challenges and, the struggles, whether it was like positive, negative, like what have you learned from just being able to migrate to the United States?
So I first came here in 2010, and the issues that I have been experienced when I first came here was the language issue and the culture shock that I have. I did not really speak good English back then, and it was hard when I first came here because I did not have a job. I had to look for a job and I did not drive. I did not know how to drive in Cambodia. So when I first came here, it's a bit difficult because commuting, I did not know how to commute around. In Cambodia, we can just take I had a scooter that I just go on a scooter, and if you don't have a scooter, we can also take a motor taxi, and there's none over here. So commute was a bit of a problem for me. And but I started by going to school. I took some ESL class, and then I got my GED here, and then I took some the CNA program and became a licensed nursing assistant, and then continue my school to become a certified medical interpreter. I worked as a Cambodian medical interpreter for a few years with a lot of like hospitals in the low area and also with VNA agencies. And then I went back to school to become a licensed practical nurse, and then get my associate degree to become a registered nurse, and then got my bachelor degree. And so I went to a lot of schooling since I came here. I like going to school, and I think that it's like in Cambodian culture, we think that education is very important. As you can see, a lot of like Asian parents, they would push their children to go to school to try to study hard, and they always expect you to get grade A and top grade. And so education is always important for me. And I'm glad that I choose this career because I love being a nurse, and I also love working at Nonotak to serve the community and help the people in community, especially in the Triple L area. We have a lot of Cambodian population, and a lot of the members that we have, their family members too, they don't really like speak good English. And then when I can communicate with them in Cambodian language and we can share the same culture, the same language, they feel very comfortable to open up to us, and they feel that Nonotak has been helping them a lot because we share the same culture, and we also kind of like provide all the support that we can as much as we can. So they open to us and they trust us, and it's good to give back to the community.
Yeah, thank you, Pia. Samantha, I know you kind of migrated here as a refugee at a very young age, so you might not have remembered, the way that you actually came here. Perhaps you could just touch on how your parents or your family members just kind of like migrated here, with you being a little child, if you remember, or if you know any stories, from your parents or your family members. Could you just talk a little bit about it?
So just speaking on behalf of my family, my siblings and my parents, my dad, like language, when they got here, language was an issue. We actually, when we first arrived to the US, we were located in Wisconsin. It was October. So at the time it was snowing. We were from a tropical area. Snow was foreign, and they thought that the world was ending. So it was really, really awful. They were just screaming, but we were sponsored by a group of church, so they had to teach us, or my family, about like the weather. Clothing was a new thing to them because they're clothing, meaning like sweaters and jeans and like coats and things like that. So with my dad, like he was the man of the family. We looked up to him. So unfortunately, he did not get to spend a lot of time in school when he arrived. So he was going to like churches to learn English. At the same time, he couldn't get a job because of the language. So he had to like work in hotels and different hotels in order to provide for the family. So he's picking up odds and ends job. He didn't know how to drive. He wasn't driving when he was in Cambodia. So with transportation in Cambodia, it was just like one of those like horse carriage. So when get here, he tried to drive, and that was like a whole new story. He said he bought, like, I can't remember exactly what type of car. He said that didn't work. So he just relied on bicycle. So he was biking everywhere. And he was telling us a story. I mean, he said that it was like really difficult, and then he would just laugh about it because he said that in the wintertime, because he couldn't really drive, he had to like just bike pretty much everywhere, or like rides from like our cousins or whatnot. And in terms of my other siblings, I think their hardship again was English. They were a lot older than I was, or I am. And so when they were put in school, it was just foreign. Food to them, I mean, we're basically eating rice, growing up eating rice. So it's just like now they're being introduced to like sandwiches, peanut butter and things like that. So it's like really foreign, which I'm going to touch base on like Cambodian cuisine after this. So yeah, pretty much. And then like Pierre said earlier, my dad pushes all the siblings, including myself, to like just go to school, focus on school, educate yourself so you can become somebody better. So, and to him, I learned like where he always tell us like knowledge, like the more things you learn, the better that you become. So
Yes, I have to agree with that. You know, there's this saying, I guess, my friend used to say to me too, how you know, knowledge is something that, you know, people can't steal from you, right?
yes.
Once you learn, once you know, once you have that knowledge in your head, it stays with you, right? No one can ever steal it away from you. So yeah, totally agree with the you know, parents being not forcing us, but like always encouraging us to, you know, learn more, go to school, and to get to where we are now, you know, you have to go through all that stuff. Okay. So Kenny, can you just, you know, same question?
Yeah, sure. Again, thanks for the opportunity to just share some, you know, experience and you know, stuff here in the United States. So I'm gonna attempt to share this. Hopefully, I can get it. Give me 1 second. Let's see. All right. Got this. Meeting calendar. Huh. Just a minute. All right. This is what it looked like at 10 years old. So I came over in the 80s, in the early 80s, like Samantha. And my dad obviously died in the war. And at an early age, I kind of didn't know anything about the United States. So when we came over, it's a culture shock as well. So when we first arrived and settled in Memphis, Tennessee, I saw snow for the first time in May. I mean, it's hard to believe it snows in Tennessee, in Memphis in particular. But when I saw snow and I start to, you know, get a cup and um, start scooping and put sugar and start eating, and I was like throwing up afterward, you know, things like that. But you know, it was a kind of shock. But I love the snow. You know, up until now, I do enjoy the snow. Uh, in terms of struggling, my family, my mom, she works for Fred Smith, the CEO of FedEx, um, as a house cleaner. And I saw how she struggled through the job, you know, not knowing the language, the culture, and everything. So she endured pretty hardship stuff. So I told myself that I want to better myself by just, you know, going to school and learn as much as I could and stay away from gangs and stuff like that. So I graduated from high school with honor and went to college, graduated with the bachelor degree, and then worked at private sector for about 12 years at Fidelity Investment. And then, uh, joined non-attack 7 years ago, which was the best decision of my life. Stuff I enjoy the most is helping the community, and I get the most satisfaction. And obviously, the culture of non-attack kind of matched my calling. So, it's like I said, it's the best decision ever made. And that's it.
Thank you, Kenny. That's a great picture. It doesn't really look
I
like
know.
you.
Very cute picture. Very cute.
Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
now it's completely gone.
All right. Monaco.
Hi everyone. When I came here, it was into the end of 2003 in December, so we did see snow immediately, but I wasn't surprised because my mom's been here before us and she sent us pictures of snows and all those other events. So it wasn't I was so tiny and little. It just seemed like second nature because I guess for me, I'm very lucky when I'm growing up. We actually does have stuff. I have access to schooling, and even in Cambodia, I took English courses before I came here, so everything was good. But in speaking of my parent perspective, they did work a lot, like really hard. We were on food stamp. We were in the really bad part of Lowell, renting a house to house, with it's just bad. And then me and my family, there's 5 of us. We talk among ourselves of what we can do to bring the light into our family. So we all work hard. Well, not me. I went to school. And to try to get our parent out of there and settle them in a nice home and they can retire. Now my parents are retired in Drake. They're really happy. They have their own little garden. So we went, and then I did my best, not to get in trouble, especially in school. I'm the first ever in my family to get a bachelor degree. Most of my siblings, they did their best, with associate and stuff, and they're all really doing really good now. And throughout the whole school, living in Lowell, it wasn't a big community shock because it's my community. I was not a minority. It was so easy to make friends. It was so easy to, walk out the house, people. That's why I love working at Nonotuck because it's the same people. And I experienced a little bit of racism and a little bit of a little bit of hatred when I went to college. I was the minority at an all-white school. It's at Merrimack in North Andover, but we did created a club for ourselves. So that's how we got back into our own community. How we were able to shed light on the Asian culture by sharing food. We did a fashion show. It was a fun time in college, and everyone loved it. And by senior year, everyone got to know us a little bit more. And then our community actually grow more. I've seen a lot more of minorities going to Merrimack and stuff. So I loved it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm glad I didn't get to experience much hardship, but racism does exist, especially during COVID time. So just want everyone to be well aware.
So, Monaco, I just want to touch on the racism part a little bit. So, when that happened, what did you do, or what did a group of you do? Did you tell the school? Did you try to I guess talk to them about this issue, or was it more like it's you just kind of brush it off?
We kind of brush it off because the racism issue happened during parties, college parties, where they won't let you in since, you're not them, that kind of thing. And we kind of brush it off. We find our own group and people that actually accept us for who we are. And we grow our own little community there. The school eventually does help us with the club and everything else. They help us organize and give us fun for our food drive and stuff like that. So at the end, it's a good happy ending.
That's good. All right. So I'm sure we're gonna be talking a little bit more, about, this particular issue, the discrimination, racism, and the Asian hate crimes and stuff, like towards the end. But in the meantime, Hero, can you just, touch on what we should kind of discuss?
So again, my name is Piero. I came to the United States in 2004, without knowing single word of English. And first year I went to high school, they put me in sophomore. And it's really a struggle. It's the language barrier. And then the second semester, it's not even second year. Second semester, I was in 11th grade. Third semester, 12th grade. And then next year, the year after that, I've been in college. But I learned English in high school, probably more than 50%. And it's go from there. I did have a little bit trouble in school, in community college, but I fight through there and get myself into UMass Lowell, got my bachelor degree, and landed a job in non-attack. And I remember, so got back to when I first day I came to the United States. I remember the next day it's 2 feet of snow because I came here in November, and then I got to work right away, shoveling snow right away, 2 feet of snow. Unfortunately, my grandma house have a big yard, so it's a lot of work for us, me and my brother. Well, my brother he's still a kid, but he enjoyed the snow a lot. And yes, and basically I landed a job in non-attack, and I love the job. I can help the Cambodian, not just Cambodian, all Asian clients, members, and the community.
Thank you, Hero. So it seems like the theme here is, for those who kind of migrated from other countries, not just Cambodia, but like other countries in general, one of the problems that we usually see is that, we are new. So we have to learn everything, even though like Monaco has said that, she was able to go to English schools and things like that in Cambodia. It's not the same. I had to go through the same thing. So a little bit of what I've gone through, when I was still living in Cambodia, I was going to English school. I was lucky, my parents were able to provide and everything like that, comparing to, Samantha, Kenny, when they migrated here at a very young age as refugees. But as soon as I got here, everything was not the same as what you were learning in the English school in Cambodia. My English was not good. I had to struggle for the first couple of years in high school. I had to work really hard to catch up, to be basically, normal as the same student as people here. But it was a struggle. But education was one of the most important most important aspect to get, myself where I am now. So without that, I wouldn't be here. So the struggle that we've gone through, it's similar, but in a different, ways where, some of us here have gone through maybe a little bit more hardship than others. But essentially, getting to know the new language, culture, food, things like that were all it's, issues for us at one point. It might be not an issue now. In terms of racism, discrimination, it happens everywhere. And sometimes it's just minor incidents, and then sometimes it's just major incidents. But I was lucky enough to not have to go through a lot of that myself. So, all right. So moving on to specific topic that we're going to be talking about. I know like some of us here plan like a little presentation so that we can all learn a little bit more about the Cambodian culture, the New Year's food, and things like that. So I want to have, let's say, Monica, you want to start first since you made like a nice presentation for us?
Yeah, sure. I'll start first.
All right.
Hi, everyone. Okay, I'm just gonna share my screen. Okay, can everyone see? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
today I just want to show everyone our culture, especially when it comes to wedding. It is the most expensive, biggest thing that we do. So marriages in Cambodia is a social institution that structure around our Khmer society. The Khmer wedding is a long history of richest symbolism, and it's well known for its specific music known as plain ga. Okay, see if I.
Monica, I don't know if you, oh, there you go. I thought you were already sharing that one. Go ahead.
So right here you
do they
can see
have a wedding ring? I'm sorry to interrupt. Do they have a wedding ring like a?
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
Okay. Not an engagement diamond ring.
Diamond ring, yes. We don't
Oh,
do
that's true.
it's
Okay.
extravagant. So here is the list of instrument that is typically played at a traditional Khmer wedding, also known as plain ga. Plain ga is typically played live using traditional instrument such as a gong, a drum, a flute, and lots more. It's similar. It's just different design, unique texture and design. Since it's harder and more expensive to access live plain ga here in the United States, most often Cambodian wedding opt for a cha, which are a host, and a downloaded version of the song. But it sure does get everyone in the spirit of marriage, wedding liveliness. Right. So here are a couple of the wedding ceremonies. Traditional Khmer wedding typically lasts around 7 days and 7 nights, where the groom and bride would reenact in traditional clothing, followed by live entertainment such as comedy show that are reenacted by professionals. And they usually sing plain ga, which also followed by blessing from the monk, blessing from the elder, blessing from your parents. Um, each of these images are just reenactment of symbolic scene from Khmer past wedding. Now in modern time, Khmer wedding is typically either 3 days or 3 nights or 1 day and a half. Cambodian American here often opt for a one whole day or a day and a half. You don't often see wedding go for 3 days and 3 nights anymore. It's just too crazy. With the morning ceremony always starts at the bride house in exchange of ritual gifts. Beautiful garments and jewelry are worn as you see in here. It's a sign of respect for both groom and bride family, where parents offer blessing and prayer for a happier life. The bride and groom often reenact in, if you can see here, this is called patowning near, which basically the bride welcoming the groom that is from afar into her family. There's also Viti Chong Dai, Hai Janoon, Pipe Gai Sla, and the monk chanting, typically. And the Khmer community living in the USA today, we never, we never got rid of this culture. We love our wedding so much. So wedding guests. Khmer wedding can have up to 1,000 guests and more. So commonly here in the United States, most Khmer wedding have at least 300 guests. So here's some pictures from my wedding. Most guests also dress in the traditional outfits, such as here. The only gift that guests are supposed to give groom and bride are called Janong Dai, which also translate into money. That's help them start out their future after the marriage. Okay. And for the Khmer community here that's living in the United States, like I said, we never let go of our culture. We embrace it more and more each year with newer design, such as clothing design, more extravagant decoration, newer hairstyles and makeup, and etc. The Khmer wedding culture opened up a lot of small businesses, especially for the community of Lowell and other Khmer community in Long Beach and wherever we are. What we have is we have some Anka, which are wedding planner. They specialize in traditional clothing. Each clothing has their own fold, their own threads, which represent and your happiness. It has a lot of symbolic meaning towards past wedding and our history. It also opened up small businesses for venues, small businesses that cater to Khmer food, and people that actually play plenka and other entertainment that comes along with it. So I hope everyone here one day get to experience a Cambodian traditional wedding. These are just some photos from mine, but yeah. That's it.
Thank you, Monica. So if you don't mind me asking, like your wedding, like what time did you have to wake up to get ready?
So I woke up at 4:30 in the morning to get ready because it takes at least 2 hours to put on all the garments and the makeup and the hair. Yeah. And then my wedding didn't end until maybe 2 p.m. that night, which I'm glad most of the people at Nonotuck got to go and enjoy. Thank you everyone for coming. Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions so far?
Yes. Is that true? I don't know about Cambodia, but some countries in Asia, the bride does not wear white because white, I think it's has to be you only wear at funerals. Is that true?
That is not true. I don't have the picture now. I did wear white on my wedding day to accept guests, to welcome guests, and to for the wedding dress I still wear white.
And how is it with the costs of the wedding? Is it the bride and the groom's family, or because 3 days? Wow.
So costs from Khmer wedding can be 20K up to $500,000 if you could afford it. It depends on your family. It's also like when I said that Khmer wedding is an institution that's structured around Khmer society, it's also basically showing off your wealth as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So the 7-day does not happen anymore. It's time consuming. Nobody's gonna go to your wedding. It's just crazy. But yes, it's very very expensive to all the garment, even though it's rental, and all the decoration, especially if you're using real flour and all
Wow,
that.
it's beautiful. Can
Oh, yeah.
someone invite me to a wedding when you have to? I'd love to go. I promise I'll get the dress too.
And then one more thing about traditional Khmer wedding is it's, I don't know how to say in English, but it's called Loi Tak Da. It's basically what the groom family gives the bride family the money to do the wedding, or to have her as his wife.
Oh, it's like a dote. Is that how you say it? I forgot. That's
It's
interesting.
dowry. It's dowry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dowry.
Oh, yep.
That's awesome. I love to learn because I have 2 Cambodian members and going to the 3rd one, and I love the culture, and Cambodia is on my bucket list. I'm going. It's beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? So yeah, I mean a little bit more on the wedding itself. It's a very long and tiring process. You have to like sit certain ways when you're sitting down. you know, when the monks are chanting, giving you blessing and all, like you all have to sit on the floor a certain way, and you can't sit down on the floor, you won't be able to last, you know, pretty long. And usually it's hours. It's just of sitting down, bowing towards the monks and your parents, grandparents, and all that. It's a lot of work. And I've seen, you know, one thing for the Cambodian wedding is that, let's say if you get invited, um, your whole family can go, not just, you know, that person or the plus one,
Yeah,
right?
I'll
It's like
bring just
plus,
me. I'll go by
it's like
myself.
it's like plus family, basically. So when you go, don't expect to have like a reserved table or chair. Whoever, you know, gets there first, get to sit down first, and with however many people you have with you, it's usually plus family, not plus one.
Is alcohol served on the weddings?
Oh yeah.
And it's like open bar for all these
Oh
people?
yeah, you can ask Pierrot about it at my wedding.
Oh my God.
So it depends. I mean, if you were to do a wedding here, you know, you can do open bar and all that stuff. But if you were to do an event in Cambodia, they serve you at the table. So you have like, you know, the event coordinator where they have like waitresses, waiters, bringing you all the drinks and food to your table.
If
So
you're
that
not drunk at a Cambodian wedding, you didn't go to the wedding.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God, I want to go. Guys, please invite me to one. Here in Cambodia. That's okay. I travel. That's fine. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I just want to add, when I was a kid, I always want to go to the wedding with my parents, not for alcohol, for food.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they have a lot of food, like what 10 different kind of food, and those food is all my favorite.
And kids are allowed to go as well?
Yes.
Wow.
There is no age limit for alcohol in Cambodia, right? You don't have to be over 21 to drink.
No.
No?
No.
Yeah, in
No.
Brazil it's
At
18.
least 18, you know, people that society would stare, but there's no age limit.
Yeah, I would say
Wow.
18, but people don't really care too much of it. But like usually Cambodian parents wouldn't let their kid drink at a young age anyway. But you know, when the 18, 19, they can go out and drink. Essentially, you know, they don't really ask for ID or anything like that. So it's totally different from here. Yeah, one of the things that I, you know, always get excited about not going to the wedding, but waiting for my parents to come back from the wedding. They have like packaged dessert that they usually bring back with them. That was like one of the things that I've always waited for when they go to the
Wow.
wedding.
Parties.
That's so
All
cool.
right. Yeah. So it's a long, tiring process for bride and groom and their families, but for our guests to go there, it's fun, you know, like get to see them getting married and eating all the food, drinking all the drinks. So okay. All right, moving on.
Can I add something? So
What's
one
that?
thing about the Khmer community is we love to feed people. We just love to feed people.
Oh,
All our food, everything is how you experience our culture, and I think that's coming up next. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Doug is here, but at one point when Doug came to the Lawrence office, we had a potluck and we all cooked, right? Like we,
Yeah.
we did like a hot pot
Yeah.
kind of food, and Doug ate a lot of it. I don't know if he's here, but he enjoyed it very much. Okay. Now that we're talking about food, I guess we'll just jump in and talk about the Cambodian cuisine, right, Samantha and
Alright.
and Kenny?
So I'll just like tell you the history and the type of food that I love. So Cambodian cuisine is termed for the cuisines of all ethnic groups in Cambodia. Khmer cuisine refers to the cuisine of the Khmer people. Over time, Cambodian cuisine has incorporated elements of Indian, Chinese, French, Thai, Laos, and Vietnamese. Now, due to Cambodia's geographic location, rice and fish are the two most important in the Cambodian diet. Rice is a staple. It's often eaten at almost every meal. This is a fun fact. So according to the International Rice Institute, there are over 2,000 rice varieties that are bred over the centuries by Cambodian rice farmer.
Wow.
Melis and Gore, it's regards as the world's best rice. Around the 2nd century, spices in Khmer cuisines were introduced by the Indian merchants, such as coconut-based curries. In the 13th century, Chinese brought over their cuisine, so the Cambodian adopted uses of noodles and stir frying. 17th century, Portuguese and Spanish introduced various crops such as tomatoes, papayas, pineapples, corn, potato, cassava, and chili. The French introduced pâté, salads, wine, coffee, asparagus, and baguettes. Cambodian ingredients, or the main Cambodian ingredients that we often use, are fermented sauces, herbs and spices, and krung. So the fermented sauces are the most important ingredients in Cambodian cuisines. Is brahok. It's a mash of salty fermented fish. Herbs and spices that we are commonly known in our dishes are holy basil, coriander, mint, turmeric, garlic, ginger, galangal, kaffir lime leaves, lemongrass, and peppercorn. Another fun fact, Kampot pepper is often regarded as the world's best pepper. Krung, it's known as like the flavoring paste. Its base consists of pounded lemongrass, galangal, garlic, shallot, kaffir lime leaves, and turmeric. Now, this is according to me, so some people might disagree, but must-try food for me would be nombrachok. It's called a Khmer noodle. The dish consists of rice noodles. It's topped with fish paste, green curry gravy made with lemongrass, finger roots, ginger, turmeric, and garlic. It's topped with cucumber, papaya, banana blossom, long beans, and dill. One additional, yeah. Another one. This is all like my favorite dishes. It's a muktarai. It's fish curry. It's curry made with fresh coconut milk and krung. Another one is kari sekmon. It's chicken red curry made with red chili. It contains chicken, sweet potatoes, coconut milk, and krung. It's accompanied with rice noodles, baguette, or rice. Another one is brahokti, which is creamy brahok dip. It's cooked with coconut cream, palm sugar, minced pork, and brahok. The last one, this is like my all-time favorite. I don't get to eat it often because it's just tedious to make. It's called Machu krung. It's lemongrass beef sour soup. The base is brahok and krung made with sliced lemongrass, galangal, turmeric, and garlic. You can add in water spinach, holy basil, and eggplant. So Cambodian cuisine is not well known within the United States, and it's usually compared to like Thai food by most Americans. So most Cambodian restaurants are located in cities with significant Cambodian populations, such as like Lowell, Massachusetts.
Oh, that was my question.
Long Beach, California, and Seattle.
Oh.
And that's my presentation. So I'm gonna pass it on to Kenny because he wants to talk about like all the different types of like food dishes.
And I'm sorry, you guys don't eat like the spiders, the tarantulas? I saw something like that on YouTube.
That's so I didn't include that because that's considered like more of the exotic type of food. If you want, Janelle actually sent a link on her email to read like the zine. So if you get a chance, go read. I highly recommend it. So if you, after reading the zine about food, your mouth is gonna start to water and you're definitely gonna be on the hunt for Cambodian food.
I'm already.
Yep. So I'm just gonna make it brief because it's Samantha already mentioned most of it, but these are the 8 must-try food. So I'm gonna attempt to share it with you real quick, and then just tell a little bit about it. As Samantha alluded to, fish amok. Basically, it's a steamed coconut fish and banana leaves. This is one of my favorite. I cannot have enough of these. It's so good. And it's famous because a lot of Westerners and foreigners, they tried it and they loved it. So a lot of creamy coconut. And Cambodian dishes use a lot of spice and different type of herbs and stuff. So if you have, stomach issues or GI, I would not recommend it too much because it can backfire on you, especially the spice. I can't do much spice either. So number 2 is some Machu sweet and sour soup with fish. This is again one of my favorite. Samantha already mentioned it, and this is so good. It has a lot of herbs and spice as well, and ginger grass, garlics, and things like that. And 1 second. Chakru stir fry lemongrass beef. Oh my God, this is just mouth watering. It's so good. A lot of herbs and spice. Stir fry. We kind of incorporate some Chinese style type of stir fry. So use a high heat and a lot of gingers and stuff like that. The 4th one is Twako. This is a Cambodian sausage. It's a little bit different from Western sausage in terms of taste because we like ferment sour taste. So Twako is that, but with some fattening, some all other kind of mash meat. It is just super good. It's unbelievable. The smell is so good when you put on the grill. Numbanjok, it's Khmer rice noodles. Samantha's already mentioned that. This is again, it's super good. Oh, I'm sorry. This one is probably, it looks like more like a tail, but Numbanjok would be Kateo is like a fur, known as fur, with Vietnamese language to West, to here in the United States. But Numbanjok would be similar, but with different um, broth and ingredients. All right, so this one is grilled pork and broken rice. This usually basically rice and then pork chop served with sweet and sour sauce, mostly from fish. The sauce made mostly from fish and vinegar and other ingredients. The second one is Goi Teo. It's noodle soup. It looks like the previous one, but this one we got the influence from mostly Chinese and Vietnamese. So, but Khmer has our own style of noodles, which tastes so good. It's called Goi Teo Phnom Penh, which the Vietnamese and the Chinese don't have it, and it's super good. And Lok Lak, this one is pretty much just rice, stir fried beef with the sauce is like black pepper and lemon juice, and then maybe salt, a little bit of salt, I'm not sure, but and then serve with salads and stuff like that. This is one of the best-selling dishes here in Lowell. A lot of Spanish likes this dish. People that I work with, and when they try this, and they could not stop going back. Yeah. So, and that's all I got for this one. Thank you for listening.
So Andrea, you talk.
to
Oh,
Kenny?
go ahead, Monaco.
So if you guys do want to taste Cambodian sausage. You could support my sister's small business.
Can you bring it some, like at the next visit we
Oh,
have
yeah.
with Law?
I'll bring you some, Erica.
Please
She's based in
take.
Arizona. She
online
makes
business?
taco
Absolutely. Save me a few boxes.
and beef
Yeah.
and beef, the dried beef one, and they
Beef
ship
stew.
it out frozen. So
Wow.
traditional back to Khmer food, Khmer tasting.
So like Cambodia is a tropical country, so I assume you guys have a lot of fruits, just like in Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah,
think
that's
this
actually
year
a
you
good.
should do a potluck where you, that's part of the whole presentation, Soling, is that you get to feed us all. We all get to
I know, I know.
Okay.
We love to
Yeah.
do it, you know, kind of because of COVID-19, we couldn't do it in the past 2 years, but we love to do it again, and everyone's invited. You'll love it.
I
don't know
love
if
the
you-
oranges. I
yeah.
have a member, Sorian. She always gives me the oranges from Cambodia. Oh my God, it's delicious.
Yeah, I
Something
don't know
about the
if it's
oranges.
possible if George approved to have the get together out in Lowell. You know, all the Nalatech employees can be here. I think we have enough space for it. You know, we'd love to do that. We have a lot of like Cambodian restaurants in Lowell. I put some in the chat, but I think there are a
good.
few more. Those are some of the places that you can go and try if you were be in the area. And then in terms of like Andrea, like you said something about insects and stuff, we do eat all that stuff. And I mentioned it last year during the panel. I showed some picture and some people freaked out seeing the tarantula and crickets and grasshoppers and so the reason why people in Cambodia started eating all those bugs and insects, it's kind of all started, you know, with the war during the 60s and 70s, you know, followed by the genocide in the in 1975. A lot of people would, you know, were not provided with any food, and they had to work long hours, hard labor, growing rice. Mainly, that was the goal of the Khmer Rouge, you know, ideology. They put everyone in like labor camps where they have to grow rice at, you know, certain rates every year. So people had to like, you know, manage to survive by finding insects around them. And at the time, all you see is rice fields everywhere and grasshopper, crickets, you know, even like frogs and things like that, like little snakes. They basically had to find something to eat, and those are the things that they were able to find around them. Because if you get caught, you know, trying to steal food like rice, corn, or things like that, you either get killed or, you know, get punished. So they had to you know, find anything that they could eat, and that's why it became, you know, like a cuisine for us now, and people still eat them as like snacks, like, but it's probably tastes better now because they, you know, add seasonings and things like that to it, whereas you eat it raw during the war and things like that. So yeah, so that's a history of why really people started eating all those insects. You know, they have a lot of protein. I don't know if you guys know, but like insects have a lot of protein for the size.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, so and you know, my parents used to tell me, my family members, they had to steal, sometimes they had to steal corn, rice, just to like, you know, try to survive on a daily basis. And it was very hard, you know, during the war. And if you ever get caught, like I said, you're gonna get punished very severely, or sometimes they just kill you. And they're not gonna waste any bullets on you. They hit you with like certain, you know, piece of wood, or like throwing you against like trees and things like that. So I don't know if you guys know a lot about the history and the war and the genocide, but I would recommend you watching like First They Killed My Father. That's a pretty good movie, and it's on Netflix. And then The Killing Field is probably the best movie to watch if you want to learn
What is that
about.
called? The First They Killed My Father?
Yes. So the movie just came out, I think maybe 3-4 years now. Angelina Jolie was the one who kind of put the movie together, and it based off a memoir of a girl who basically survived the Khmer Rouge, and she's actually living in the United States now. She wrote a book about it, and then they made a movie out of it recently. And then The Killing Fields, that's probably an OG movie, and a lot of scenes were taken like at real sites where you still see a lot of like human remains and things like that, like out there everywhere. So if you want to learn more about the war and the genocide, that's a great movie to watch. And it's a really good quality too, like judging it by how and when it was produced. I think it was in the 80s, but the quality is really good, and the storyline and everything in that movie described, it's not like full details, but you kind of get like basic ideas of what happened, how it happened, things like that. So
I admire you guys. Like, the family is going through this. Lom once told me like very sad stories that a lot of people lost their grandparents and sisters and brothers and came here. They didn't even look. The kids didn't even know like how old they were. It was
yeah, so throughout the 60s and the 70s, and in the genocide itself, 1/3 of the Cambodian population were either killed, starved to death, and just died. And we had 6 million people at the time, so about 2 million died. So if you look at some stats now, where Cambodia is a very young countries in terms of people. The median age is about 29, 30 years old.
wow.
And about 1.5% is like elderly, right? So a majority of our populations are like very young, compared to like some of the neighboring countries like Thailand and all that. So I mean, the country itself has always been at war since 50s, 60s, 70s. We didn't really get like a peace for where we had election government up until like 91, I think. In the 90s. But even then, there was still a lot of instability in terms of politics. Everyone was trying to be in power, trying to rule the country. So we were at civil war. Not until like in the 2000s, that's when we really had like, a legitimate, I guess, government, you would say it, where they really started developing the country a little bit more. And now it's a different world now over there. It seems like within the last 10, 20 years, they had developed a lot. I still remember when I was younger, there's like dirt roads everywhere. And now we actually have pavements. We have parks where people can go and exercise, walk, right? Buildings, Starbucks, every corner of the street. It's been changing, and it's good in a way. But in terms of the culture itself too, it's heavily influenced by Western culture, like K-pop cultures. So a lot of younger generations, they don't really keep or follow traditions in Cambodia as much as we used to, just because we have a lot of influences outside. Internet made us closer. The integration of Wi-Fi. You go there on the street, a small little stall has free Wi-Fi sign on it, so you can use your phone, your computer, iPad everywhere. So that's some of the things that have changed throughout the years. So
Wow.
So I think those are really the topic that we wanted to talk about today. I know, I don't know if we ran over time, but we had an hour. Janelle, are we still good with time, or?
Yeah, we can just kind of say, if people need to step out, we understand, but if you want to take a little more time, I think people would really appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah, so I know we talk a lot about fun things